Welcome to Gotta Ping. I'm Mei Ping, the founder of Gotta Ping. As a next-gen leadership coach, I help high-performing young executives and entrepreneurs like you to navigate complex people and problems with top-notch communication and leadership skills to create sustained success. In today's podcast, I explore whether will creating content fuel or harm your corporate career. So this is a very interesting topic because of the rise of professional social media platforms such as LinkedIn. So in fact, nowadays, LinkedIn is way more popular for younger professionals to hang out and even older professionals as well, right? So it's a wide spectrum of people networking on this platform, looking for opportunities. And with that, we also have service providers such as marketers, consultants, coaches, and other people who are looking to grow their business on such professional platforms. So with the mix of all these people from different kind of backgrounds and obviously looking at one common thing, and that is content on LinkedIn, for example. And because of the rise of content, and of course you have the entrepreneurs such as coaches, consultants, and service providers actively creating content, it does create a little bit of a competition, or in a sense a lot of inspiration to the guys who are working in a corporate job. So is that you? So are you that person who is a professional who having a corporate job like a 9 to 5, getting very inspired by all this content and sometimes pretty controversial content at that, and feeling like you have to also create content to get attention, because that is what all those personal branding gurus are telling you, right? So is that you? So if you are that person, right? So the podcast today will definitely be very helpful for you, because I will be talking about whether these such content will actually fuel, as in propel your career forward, or it will actually harm your career. So coming from someone who has been I've been a hiring manager. When I was in Standard Chartered, I've interviewed many people, looked at many resumes, and let me tell you a big secret. When HR or even the hiring managers, before we make a decision to hire, because of the globalization era right now, a lot of us would go online and Google your name. Yes, we do Google your name, and whatever comes out across your social media platforms, whether you think is privacy or not, as long as it's on the public platform, it does affect the judgment and the perception that your future employer may have of you, right? So we'll now talk about how this may harm your career first, right? So coming from this simple example, and it definitely has happened before. When I was hiring for one of the positions, we received quite a number of resumes and we shortlisted to about 5 candidates. My team interviewed all 5 candidates, and when the push comes to shove, right, before proceeding to the next round, my team did a Google on all the candidates. And guess what? One of the candidates, he had left some sketching reviews on social media. It wasn't LinkedIn at that time, it was Facebook. A sketching review on a service provider, basically a rant about how he was cheated and it was unfair. And guess what's the surprise at the end, right? It ended up as a misunderstanding, right? So whatever the story was, anything that you put out there, it is up for judgment, whether you like it or not. That's reality, and that's something I tell all my coaching clients. So you want to be cautious of what you put out there. And if you're wondering the end of that story for that candidate, no, we did not proceed the next level of interview, because every single company, every team wants a team player. We don't want to lose cannon. So that's a very honest view coming to you from someone like me who has hired people from all over the world. I used to have teams in Singapore, India, Malaysia. I worked with people from 43 countries. So that's reality, guys, despite what the other personal branding gurus are telling you. So you want to be cautious of that. Not saying that you shouldn't, but you want to be cautious of that. And the other thing that I see a lot of young professionals do, and even older professionals as well, is getting in this content competition of getting likes, right? All the likes, the comments, the fluffy stuff. So I just want to also be honest, if you want to create content that is interesting, most of the time it has to be controversial. So if something is controversial, clearly not everybody is going to like it. There will be, someone that's going all for it, really in love with what you say. There will be also people who think completely differently. And if you are looking to advance your career opportunities and look for more job offers and so forth, then this little controversial content will become a liability. And 100% it will become a liability, because we don't want to hire someone that we don't really know what's going to come out from his or her mouth after this. And we also don't want someone that eventually may not get along with their colleagues because they may want to stir up some controversy to get attention. Because you want to get attention online, that's fine, but what you want to be cautious of is how that is going to translate in the workplace. I always tell my clients, how you do one thing is how you do everything. It is going to be really difficult to split your online personality because you're trying to do personal branding online versus how you're actually going to behave at work, because it's that same mentality that inspired you to do a certain thing and to get involved in content, like I said, right, which will harm your career. So those are two really, really big examples, and something that you may want to really reflect on, because this is a really worrying trend I'm seeing, especially for the guys who are not even in corporate yet. They are still students, really creating a lot of controversial content because they've been following a lot of personal branding gurus. Guys, these people are marketers. They are selling you personal branding. They are selling you these things because it advances their business. A lot of them do not actually work in a proper corporate, right? And I this is really a worrying trend that I see a lot, but obviously I cannot reach out to everyone. So my advice to you guys is really think through the purpose of you creating that content, and not so much about how it's going to add value to other people. Think about whether it's going to help you. It's going to help you or it's going to harm you, right? That's the most important question. Okay, so now on the happier side, how will creating content fuel your career? So the biggest point is this: what kind of career do you have? What kind of career do you have? And also, where are you right now in your career? So for example, you're trying to establish yourself as a thought leader in the industry, right? Or you are somewhat related in the business side of things, right? So you could be in business development and so forth. Then yes, definitely creating content drives a lot of attention to what you do and what your company can do for them. So these are really, really helpful for people who are in insurance, who are in real estate. So they may not be in a traditional 9 to 5, but there is an element of their business where they have to get involved in sales and marketing, right? So I call these people solopreneurs. So even they may be connected to a company, but it's really their own brand, and people buy because they know who they are and what they can do for them in terms of customer service. So these ones, you definitely want to have a content strategy so that like people say, out of sight, out of mind, right? So for sure, that's something that you guys want to think about. So the other thing is that you may be someone really senior as a C-suite or a director looking for your next big role at a big company. So creating content and sharing your expertise via content online does help a lot, because hiring at the senior level is just beyond the resume. It's about value and it's about results. So the more people can know about the expertise that you have, the views and your strategic views and so forth, it does help. So for you guys who are in the C-suite or aspiring C-suites, then I would highly recommend that you do get started with a content strategy, regardless of how that content method would look like, whether it's a post, it's a video, it's an article, it's a sharing, and so forth, right? So get started with that. However, again, like I said, if you are currently working, pretty 9 to 5, climbing the corporate ladder, or pretty much just starting out, then you can still create content, definitely. However, you may want to limit the scope of your content. So you may want to share stuff that demonstrates your skills or your expertise or your experience, and try to steer away from the controversial stuff, because I don't think that's going to help in the long run, despite what the personal branding gurus are telling you. So really, really think about the real purpose of you sharing the content from your perspective, right? How it's going to impact you. Yes, it definitely is going to impact someone else, and that's what all the gurus are telling you, but I'm telling you to take a different perspective. How is this going to impact you? Is it going to fuel your career, or is it going to harm your career? That's really the most important decision making that you need to make, whether it's content, whether you're creating content or you're engaging content. Because I have also seen people who comment on other people's posts. Some of them are really, really good comments, like shows really good attitude, shows that they have learned something. Then I think it demonstrates that person's character very positively. But at the same time, I also see people leaving very sketching reviews on other people's posts, and that immediately throws me off. And I ask myself, do I really want someone like that working in my team, creating a bunch of controversy? So I'll end with this. Because this is really a highly requested topic, and I have seen too many people getting caught in that trap. So I'll leave with that one question on whether creating content will help or fuel your career. Like, think about it from your perspective. And recently, I have been launching live masterclasses on how to build your LinkedIn profile, as well as how to create content for entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. So if you're interested to find out more, connect with me on LinkedIn, where I will publish all the upcoming events on my profile page. And aside from that, if you guys need one-on-one help, reach out to me also, and happy to share more details. And all in all, wish you guys good luck. And for my Gotta Pink podcast, new episodes every Thursday. So don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Cheers. Bye. Thank you for joining me today. If we have not yet connected, I look forward to connecting with you. You can find me on my website, www.gottapink.com, on LinkedIn, as well as Facebook. The links to my profiles are in this episode's description box. I can't wait for you to join me in the next episode of my Gotta Pink podcast. Till next time, bye!